everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and I'm sure you've all heard about what the ATF has going on right now. It seems like they're on a mission to infringe on our Second Amendment rights. They're going after braces, they've already gone after bump stocks, and they're also going after 80%. So, with everything that's going on with the ATF right now, the likelihood of getting a knock on the door has become a little bit greater, especially since we know that the ATF acquired through Stamps.com the sales records for those people that bought those 80% kits. And so, with that being said, what do you do if the ATF shows up at your door? This channel is proud to be supported by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Make sure you check that link in the description box, become a member, and donate when you can, because they're the ones that are going to be fighting back against everything we're going to be talking about today. Now, I suppose I should start off by saying I'm not a lawyer and this should not be considered legal advice. If you need actual legal advice, please contact a competent Second Amendment attorney, somebody who knows exactly what they're talking about. This is my opinion based off of information that I've gathered from reputable sources. Now, even though I've made a video about this in the past, as a matter of fact, I think I've made a couple of videos about this specific topic in the past. Recently got an email from the Firearms Policy Coalition. If you're not a member, make sure you join. They are one of the people who are going to be spearheading the fight against all this stuff that you keep hearing about. But they sent out an email, and at the bottom of the email, they had a little bit of guidance on what you should do if law enforcement ends up at your door. And a lot of it was stuff that I had talked about previously in other videos, but I thought I would reiterate it given the current circumstances and what's going on right now. So the first thing that they have, at least on their list, is do not talk to them. That's one important thing that I always try and stress to people. It is very hard, if not impossible, to talk yourself out of getting arrested. It's something that a lot of people try to do, but there's really no way that you can talk yourself out of something that they've already predetermined that they're going to do. But if you do talk to them, you can get yourself into a lot more trouble. There's things that you would say that you think are perfectly fine, but in reality, they're actually incriminating. So the best thing that you can do if the ATF does or law enforcement shows up at your door is don't say anything. You don't have to say anything. As a matter of fact, you have a legal right not to speak. Okay, what you would do is you simply inform them that you would like a lawyer before you say anything. And then you go ahead and you give that lawyer a call and you let them know what's going on and you let the lawyer talk for you. The lawyer knows the law a lot better than you or I do, and the lawyer will be able to talk to law enforcement and talk to whoever is in charge, and they'll be able to speak on your behalf in a way that will not incriminate you. That's very important. Another one is don't voluntarily allow for searches. Okay, so if somebody comes to your door and they say, we would like to search your home, we got this name from Stamps.com, we know that you may have purchased one of these kits and we'd like to search your home. You do not have to allow them to search your home unless they have a warrant. Again, they don't have to search your home unless you allow them to search your home or they have a warrant. In which case, if they have a warrant, they're not going to ask. They're just going to force their way in. They're going to let you know they have a warrant. They're going to tell you they want inside. At that point, if they have the warrant, they can come in and they can search for whatever is on that warrant. So the thing is, don't consent to searches. If they don't have a warrant, let's say, and they force their way in anyway, well, now you have a case against them for illegal searches and possibly illegal search and seizure, right? So it's better to be able to fight that, should they come into your house regardless if they have a warrant or not, than it is for you to say, yeah, go ahead, take a look around. If you allow them to just take a look around, they're going to find whatever they can find. And something that you may think is totally benign, that's not really that big of a deal, they may see that and they might be able to build a case against you just based off of what they saw. You're allowing them access to incriminate you. They're not there to be your friends. They're not there to be your buddies. I know that a lot of times they may come off as super friendly, and some of them are friendly people, and my suggestion to you is to be as friendly back to them. You know, be friendly, be courteous, be professional, speak to them kindly. You know, don't make yourself out to be something that you're not. Talk to them as you would your neighbor. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to get enraged by what's going on. Talk to them calmly and talk to them professionally. But they're going to try and act like they're your friend, but they're not there to be your friend. They're there to find something that would incriminate you. So again, don't talk to them. Let the lawyer talk to them, and don't consent to searches. Now, before I continue on here, let me go ahead and say that I do support law enforcement. I think that in a civil society, there needs to be laws, and there needs to be somebody around to enforce those laws. That is what helps make a society civil. So I support law enforcement, but as an American citizen, we have rights. And it's important that we make sure that law enforcement doesn't exceed their authority and infringe on those rights. And so that's kind of where this video comes in. It's just one of those things where we need to make sure that should we have an interaction with law enforcement, that interaction goes correctly and that somebody doesn't do something stupid or say something stupid that gets either you in trouble and law enforcement doesn't overstep their boundaries, which does happen quite often. So while I support law enforcement and I support a civil society with laws, it's important to know your rights before you continue on to things. Now, another thing is you don't necessarily have to open the door if they don't have a warrant. That's also another important thing, because let's say, for instance, you have something on your coffee table, you have something in there that looks like it could be suspicious, right? You don't want to open your door and allow them access to see inside your house and maybe even give them enough for probable cause to be able to come into your house. So if you feel the need, you can talk to them through the door. They just need to communicate with you. And if you can communicate through the door and tell them that you'll talk to them when there's a lawyer present, then that's all there is to it. You don't have to open the door, and you don't have to let them step inside to talk to you. And another thing is, you don't have to come outside to talk to them in front of your door either. So you don't have to leave your dwelling to communicate with them. Whether you're communicating with them face to face, or if you're communicating with them through the door, you can communicate the fact that you want a lawyer present. Again, this is if they don't have a warrant or a legal reason to enter your house. There's other things other than a warrant that would allow somebody to simply come into your house. For instance, if you are an FFL, if you have certain holdings and things like that will allow people to come through and do warrantless searches, then there's other things on the books that will allow them to do that. But if they do not have those reasons to enter your home, you don't have to go out on the front porch. You don't have to talk to them by opening the door. Talk to them through the door and let them know. Now, another thing I want to mention real quick, and again, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, this is just based on my opinion and things that I've learned over the years, but in California, one of the things that we did in order to kind of get around things or make sure things were in compliance, just in case somebody happened to show up maybe with a warrant and decided to look around, is we would separate the upper from the lower. So if you're somebody right now who currently has something that has a brace lower on it, all you have to do is simply separate the upper from the lower. Because if that brace lower had a 16-inch upper on it, it wouldn't matter if it was a brace or if it was a stock, because a 16-inch barrel with that particular overall length, it could have a stock or a brace, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't classify it under the NFA. Same goes with something that does not currently have an upper on it. I think that intent matters, and if you're intending to put a full-length upper on it, then you could simply say this is, it's not going to be for that, this is for something else, and they can't necessarily prove it because it's not connected to anything. So I know that one of the ways that we would get around things is we would simply take the upper and the lower apart. So if you're somebody that's worried that, you might end up being searched, that's one thing that you could do right there, simply take it off, whatever. Basically by the ATF doing this and the ATF saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to reclassify these things as, falling under the NFA. And then at the same time, we're going to go ahead and remove the $200 tax stamp for those people that own these things prior. Basically what they're trying to do here, and don't let them fool you, is create a de facto registry. By eliminating the tax that's associated with it. They're hoping that more people would be inclined to then register those things and be able to use them however they want. If it's registered in the NFA, you don't even have to use a brace at that point. You could just simply put a stock on it. But what they're doing is they're trying to get as many people as possible to register it as an NFA item, in which case all your information is going to be going over there. And again, it's registered. And if it's registered, then, you know, they can figure out who has what. And it's a great way for them to be able to get and recruit as many people as possible to register as many people and as many lowers as possible. So you'd be looking at just a massive registry. And I think that that's probably the game plan here. I remember when the whole Polymer 80 thing happened, in my first video, the morning after that happened with the raid on Polymer 80, I said, I think this is a fishing expedition. One of my main thoughts was, it's not really about Polymer 80. And I said in the video, nobody was arrested, nobody was charged with anything. They just simply went in there and they seized some stuff and, you know, records and things like that. But I thought it was a fishing expedition for customer records, and sure enough, it was. And so I think what this is now is basically an attempt at creating a de facto registry for braces. That's what I think. So they're trying to get as many people's names, numbers, and addresses as possible, and they're going to push as hard as they can to get it. So anyway, that information that I provided to you guys earlier is kind of based off of an FPC email. So like I said before, if you're not a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition, become a member. These guys are going to be on the front lines for fighting back against this stuff. And so donate, you know, when you can as well, because it's very expensive to hire attorneys. It's very expensive to stay in court. It's very expensive to run a nonprofit like that and to be able to fight all of the fires that are, you know, we're trying to put out across the country right now. It's very expensive and it's very difficult, and they need our support. So again, go to the description box, become a member, donate when you can. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.